I never thought that I would watch the original Sailor Moon anime. I'd read the Sailor Moon manga first, you see, in 2023, and then watched the corresponding Crystal, Eternal, and Cosmos on Netflix. And I loved them. They had seemingly everything to be a good story. Likeable protagonists, cool lore, villain backstories, queer people, gorgeous animation, romance, queer romance. What else could Sailor Moon possibly provide? But it was last June, when I was scrolling through Sailor Moon memes on Pinterest, when I came across a screenshot of an older anime art style of two characters that I had never seen before. I didn't recognize them at all, even though it had shown up in my Sailor Moon search, but it was clearly labeled Kunsei Zoisite. Like, Endimion Shitenu Kunsei Zoisite, their hair was completely different colors, and their uniforms were completely different as well. But more importantly, why were they holding each other like that? So, finding out that Kunsei and Zoisite were in a gay relationship in the 90s Sailor Moon anime was a massive surprise to me. For Sailor Moon villains to even be in a relationship seemed shocking, and this screenshot absolutely intrigued me. That fateful day on June 15th, 2024, I opened my laptop and began watching Sailor Moon, the 90s one, and by the time I finished it in August, I was astounded by how incredible its villains were. Since then, the Sailor Moon villains have been at the forefront of my mind 24/7. I've never stopped thinking about them. From serving incredibly stylish looks, falling to tragic deaths, to committing comedic absurdities, to carrying terrifying threats, the villains in Sailor Moon can do it all. Hi everyone, I'm Kay, and last summer I sent 380 text messages about Sailor Moon villains to people who didn't want to hear it. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch this video, and I'd appreciate you even more if you subscribe. Today, friends, I'll be ranking all 69 villains from Sailor Moon to answer that question that has been burning at the back of your brain for eternity. Who is the best one? It can be kind of hard to determine what's a villain in Sailor Moon, so here are my guidelines. No monsters of the week are included, which means no Yoma, Diamond Egg victims, Phages, etc. However, the magical entities, so the reincarnations of chaos, are included. I'm blending the 90s anime and the manga/crystal canon for this, as it's more fun and I love both of them. A very important distinction to make is I'm not ranking on who's the most powerful, I'm ranking them on how much I like them. So it's obviously very subjective, there's no right or wrong answer, but some important factors for me is how entertaining they are, how good their character design is, how much they accomplish, and their backstory. None of the Sailor Moon short story manga villains are included, but the 90s anime movie villains are included. And finally, I could not be bothered to rewatch everything for this ranking, so do not be surprised if there are missing details or mistakes made. Sailor Moon villains may be my hyperfixation, but I'm not a human wiki. I'm sure you skipped the guidelines anyway, so time to start. Zenotime and Zeolites come in last place because they only have like 3 lines in the entire Eternal movie. We don't even know which one is which. I had to look it up and I'm sure nobody was wondering, but Zeolites is the one with white and gray checkered clothing. The only reason Zeolites is ranked higher is because I like his name more than Zenotime. It's cool that they throw knives, I guess, but this is literally the most thought anyone has ever given to these two. Nobody knows they exist and we can leave it that way. The Makaiji, or the Doom Tree. I hate this arc because it feels so unnecessary and because it isn't in the manga. I have literally nothing to say about it, except that I hate it. Moving on. Iechu. He has a cool design in his alien form at least, but he is creepy and weird for pretending to be sisters with his girlfriend, and going after Sailor Moon while being with his girlfriend is just as creepy and weird. Also, Iechu and An take over as a new villain couple after Zoisite and Kunsei, but they pale so pathetically by comparison. Iechu and An are annoying, and I don't care about the relationship. It does nothing to serve these characters except create weird incestual tensions. An. As you can see, I really hate this arc. She's ranked higher than Iechu because her interactions with Sailor Moon and the other girls are kind of sweet. Like, look at this adorable picnic, it's so cute. Also, her alien form is really hot and way better than Iechu's. But she pretended to be her boyfriend's sister and she liked Tuxedo Mask. And anyone who likes 90s Tuxedo Mask is just a fool. Banan. He was barely here, and I don't think the Super S movie he comes from even says his name. The flutes that they all have are cool, but I don't like his, and I don't like his hat. Buy the bananas. Also, the bonbon babies they attack with are kinda cute, and I'd lucky get one of them tattooed. Orangey. I liked when he turned into a bird. He was really pretty as a bird, but overall, the Super S movie was too rushed for me to care about Banan or Orangey. Nephrite. In reality, everybody is a better villain than Nephrite because my hatred for him burns deep in my soul. He accomplished nothing, and I know so many people who are like, oh my god, Nephrite's so cool with his hair and his clothes, and I'm here to say, no. His hair reminds me of Elliot from Stardew Valley, who I also want to burn in hell. And like Elliot, Nephrite is a creep. Naru is so much younger, and is so weird and gross. Liking middle schoolers is not a good look, and you're ruining the name of the Shitenu. The best thing Nephrite did was get killed. I love that scene. Jadeite, the most boring, bland villain ever created, with a dash of misogyny sprinkled in. I don't think anyone likes this guy. He's so generic, he's a no-name brand at the grocery store. His Crystal version is better than 90s version, because in Crystal, he's one of Endymion's princes and guards. Oh, also, him canonically being sexist is, again, just not a good look. And also, I need to throw this in somewhere. The Senshi X Shitenu ships need to die. Queen Metalia. I don't care at all about Metalia, but she still ranks higher than Jada and Nephrite. I will say I like that she's located in the North Pole. I like how the Chaos entities start on Earth and then eventually end up in fictional planets with Chaos at the very end. Chaos. So standard, even the name of Chaos is standard, but it wraps up the final arc of Sailor Moon well in a way that makes sense. Again, it was cool that all of the other magical entities were incarnations of it. Tinyanko annoys me so much. I hate that she befriends Sailor Moon and Cosmos, though I love the panel where the Starlights are gossiping about her arrival right here. I don't like Nyanko's design, and I hate that she targets Luna and Artemis. In the 90s anime, she's so annoying too. I hate that she's constantly bothering Light Crow when Crow is clearly superior in everything. The only moment where I don't hate her is when she loses a bracelet and is half good, half evil right before Kakyu dies. Pets. I don't like her bun, and she just doesn't leave an impression on me. Although I did like her fight scene against Sailor Jupiter and Crystal. The clone droid of Jupiter was super clever and pretty funny. Pharaoh 90. The diamond eggs were cool, but what can I really say about all of the magical entities? Pharaoh 90 is ranked a bit higher than some of the other Chaos incarnations because I liked the basement where he was and this pond here. The Cassenian flower. It's a cool design, and I like that it possesses Fiore. As far as the evil entities that control people go, I actually like this one. It's pretty cool. Sailor Chi and Sailor Phi. Sailor Chi has a worse outfit than Sailor Phi, so she's ranked lower. I low-key hate them for killing Princess Kakyu. Cosmos is just people dying over and over and over again, but Kakyu's death was the one that actually upset me in that movie. Also, Chi and Phi don't have distinct personalities, so they aren't very strong characters. Finally, as a side note, I'm so curious as to why Naoko Takeuchi started including all of these twin villain duos in the Dead Moon Circus arc and onto Shadow Galactica. Calavejas. I liked her Crystal portrayal more. She was the last sister standing and wanted to avenge the others. Her channeling brainwashing always makes me laugh because it's in this gorgeous park in the middle of the day. And also, it's really cool that her sister's spirits embody the Senshi's friends right here. Yujiel. She's too confusing with Kaori Knight. Her death in the 90s anime was amazing though. She literally just fell off a cliff because of Minette. If I'm being honest, Yujiel's ranked the lowest of the Witches 5 because I like her outfit the least. Like half the villains in Sailor Moon exist just to serve looks, and Yujiel could take a hint from that. Is an ugly outfit a cause for death? No, but we don't miss her, do we? Virui. I found her annoying. I don't like how she tried to take down Sailor Mercury with these nanobots, though I guess it was kind of annoying that she tried to go for Mercury through computers and not water like most of the villains do. Virui's death was a cool moment, since a lot of the villains don't die in front of the Senshi in meaningful ways. They just get killed off by their boss or leader. It's super ominous, especially in Crystal, how Wiseman persuades Chibiusa to the dark side. Unlike most of the evil forces, he actually leaves a memorable impression on the story because he actually does some of the work, does something directly, unlike most of the other Chaos incarnations who just order around their minion villains. So Wiseman being the one to get Chibiusa and turn her into Black Lady is a nice change. Akiharu and Kiharu. They were very effective in destroying the school. Most of the scenes where all of Juban gets corrupted and fights each other, especially in Crystal, don't seem that scary. But something about seeing it through Chibiusa's eyes, a child, was poignant. It was actually kind of sad to see her friends being weird and see everyone fighting, and they're just little kids. So hats off to them, they were kind of effective. Berthier. She's super cute, so I'm happy that Sailor Moon purifies her in the 90s anime. The chess tournament against Sailor Mercury was cool. I don't have much to say about her, but I'm happy she's here. Rubius. His outfit is so sick. It's not exactly my style, but it looks exactly like that slightly grungy aesthetic that brands are going for recently. Wiseman killing him in Crystal made me laugh. I guess I just didn't really expect it, but it took me by surprise. Demando is so creepy, obviously. I was actually uncomfortable when he kissed Usagi in Crystal, so I guess he was effective in being a threat, but being a sexual predator is not likable. He is just too creepy for me to like him, especially when he dresses Sailor Moon up in the white dress. Dark Kingdom and Demion. I find him so annoying, and I hate how he bothers Kinsei. However, in Crystal, I actually felt a little bit sad on behalf of Sailor Moon when she finds out that her tuxedo mask has turned evil. This kept him from being way lower on this list because I actually felt something. I hate Sailor Galaxia's helmet. It definitely makes her look more powerful, but long hair is literally my favorite thing in the world. So why did she have to wear the helmet? Also, yes, she was possessed by chaos, but I can't just forgive her in the way Sailor Moon does. She's too cruel for the audience, me, to understand her. I will say her best moment was when she approached Sailor Moon on the swing set with Chibi Chibi in the Cosmos movie. Black Lady. If I was ranking solely on design, Black Lady would place first, and we all know it. But in context of the show, I don't like her. Chibiusa has only been a pest up until now, and although her transformation manages to be painful to Sailor Moon, it is not to me. And I must address the obvious, Wiseman making Chibiusa older is weird, and Black Lady trying to seduce Tuxedo Mask is even worse. The best thing about Black Lady is that she's obviously will become lesbians with Mistress 9. Esmeralda. Something about me automatically likes her a little, seeing how she's the only girl in the Black Moon clan and has to deal with all of the men around her. She's very girl boss is what I'm saying. I always think of her telling Tuxedo Mask to shut the hell up, which is so real. Most of these characters I either hate or adore, but Esmeralda is kind of just there for me. Mimette. Killing Eugil by sending her off of the cliff with snails was hysterical, but I got fed up with her constant boy celebrity crushes. Kawan is one of the most praised when it comes to design, and I'm here to do the same thing. In case you don't know, her outfit is inspired by Mugler, and I love her shoes the most. Kawan is the most memorable of the 4 Spectre sisters by far. The fortune-telling booth was hella cool, and I liked that we got to see Sailor Mars' school through Kawan's time there. Sailor Lete. I found her annoying. She should just do what Sailor Minesme tells her to do and stop trying to kill Sailor Moon and her crew. The idea of the two of them being the guardians of the River of Forgetfulness and the River of Memory is great though, because they have literal opposite values but have a deep connection as people, so there's a lot of tension there. We surprisingly don't see this much in Sailor Moon, so it's nice. Lete was here for like 10 minutes in Cosmos, but out of Cosmos' 20 or so new characters, she's one of the least likable. Princess no Kaguya. I like the Snow Queen inspiration, and it makes me realize how strange that it is that Sailor Mercury and none of her corresponding water villains don't use snow. Ice is often used against Mercury, or Mercury uses it, but I can't think of a single example of anyone using snow besides Kaguya, which helps her shine. Her snow dancers were cooler than the majority of the villain's monsters. I love these swirly animations here. Number 35 is Queen Beryl, who's one of the characters that I'm most conflicted on when it comes to Sailor Moon. In Crystal, she starts a legit war over Endymion, which is insane and such a problematic move to pull. And I honestly think she'd be a better character if she was a little less straight, because her love for Endymion is ridiculous when she has 4 equally ranking guys around her at all times. If she had gone for Nephrite, for example, we would have avoided Nephrite messing with a middle school girl. Beryl does literally nothing. Overall, Beryl kinda just reminds me of the Are the Streets Okay? And she makes a lot of foolish choices. Number 34 to 26 is when Sailor Moon's friends are temporarily under Galaxia's control in Cosmos. So Tuxedo Mask, Venus, Mercury, Mars, Jupiter, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, and Saturn. Tuxedo Mask being controlled at this point is so overdone that it's boring and annoying. On the other hand, Sailor Moon realizing that she has to take down her friends is pretty poignant, and it hadn't been done yet before in this series, so I liked it. 25 is Kaolinite or Kaohinaito. She's so twisted, which is awesome. Flirting with Tomoe is funny, in this case, and I feel so bad for Hotaru for having to deal with her. However, I am hugely entertained by all of their interactions, and just how bad Kaolinite makes Hotaru's situation. I like how she taps on the pond in Crystal to summon Witches 5, and I was so confused by her resurrection in the 90s Sailor Moon, but it was pretty cool, seeing as most villains aren't resurrected in that way. Fess. I'm not big on her hair. However, overall, the Amazoness Quartet designs are my favorite of all of the villain groups, and overall, the Amazoness Quartet is my favorite villain group in Sailor Moon. I love the circus aesthetic, and their introduction is fabulous. Right here is my second favorite scene in all of Sailor Moon, second to the 90s Sailor Starlight's transformation. It's cool that in Eternal, Fess is the one to turn the Amazon trio from animals into humans, or humanoids, I guess? Mostly though, Fess scores highly for taking on Zirconia here. It's so wild that it takes all the way until the 4th season of the 90s anime for someone to try to go against their villain leader like this. Telu. She was barely here, but she's ranked this high because I think she's really cute. Her flower vines are so cool, and this was one of the best Season 3 Crystal fight scenes. Creating poisonous toxic plants is pretty clever, and it makes more sense to me than brainwashing radio programs and some of the other ridiculous stuff we've seen in this series. Queen Badian. I was shocked with how good her design is, and I can't believe no one's talking about it more. She looks so vampiric with the fangs and the bad headpiece, and I'd love to wear the dress in real life. Also, her massive scale is super cool. It's surprising that more Sailor Moon villains aren't physically huge like she is. How she kept shocking Chibiusa into unconsciousness with the black hole was brutal, and the fact that she reverted all of their transformations so effectively was hella impressive. Popeline is very powerful and intriguing right from the start, since he gets to carry so much of the film by being the most proactive of the villains by gathering the kids. I love the flute and I love the outfit, and it's really interesting that he, along with Orangey and Banan, think that they're doing a good thing. Something about that confident ignorance is really fun to watch, and again, we don't see any other villains like that. It was so unexpected when Saphir blamed Sailor Moon, and it was really his time to shine. I loved this episode in Crystal. He was menacing, but kind of sympathetic. I felt his pain for the loss of his brother and his normal life, and he was super immature to blame Sailor Moon. However, it was still very real. When it comes to the 90s anime, I basically can't remember him even being there. But out of the Black Moon clan, he is my favorite. Also, Saphir has 2 smoke creatures he controls called Agayutichi and Veniti, but since they don't do anything at all, and they're not even distinct from each other, like you can't tell who's who, I decided not to count them in this ranking. Hokusai has a very cool outfit. I love the Amazon trio, and their relaxing at the bar is hilarious. Even though their conversations are kind of creepy and sometimes predatory, the trio's antics and stupid arguments always make me laugh. They do great at comedic relief. When it comes to Crystal, his shop is cool, but seems quite random. His connection with Sailor Jupiter is so rushed that I don't know how to feel at the end. He encourages her to follow her dreams, but feels no remorse for his actions. I don't know how to interpret this guy. Queen Helena. I love her dress so much, but I don't understand anything about her at all and her motivations. Every other character in the Dead Moon Circus is so memorable, so she just pales by comparison. Also, what ties does she even have to the circus? Like, why circus? She doesn't have that same memorable zaniness as the rest of them, and I love the Dead Moon Circus so much, so I just don't understand why she's in charge of it. Zirconia. Unlike Nehelenia, she seems threatening to me in both the 90s Super S and the Eternal movies. Zircon, her flying creature, is cute, and I can't think of any other villains with an animal sidekick, so that's a cool, unique gimmick. Unlike Queen Nehelenia, she fits the circus aesthetic to me, with Zircon and this giant elephant thing she perches on, so she makes sense as its leader. Tiger's Eye. I found it utterly bizarre when he tries to take down Sailor Mars by telling her that she dreams of getting married to a man because it's so far from what Ray really wants in life. However, his poses in the many mirrors was pretty iconic and funny. Again, like Hokusai, he does come across as predatory when talking about how he likes younger girls in the 90s anime, ick. But like I said, the Amazon trio always makes me laugh, and the redemption in the original anime was sweet. Sailor Iron Mouse is super cute. She stuck around to the 90s anime for far too long, but she was fun. The telephone chasing her is hilarious, and it's one of the first scenes I think about when I think about Sailor Moon. Her disguise clothes as Nezu are super stylish, and for Cosmos, she was defeated kind of humiliating quickly, but she still served cuteness. Cyprien and Pitol. It's a really cool moment when they split into two separate people, and I love both their designs. And I'm glad that this wasn't a repeating plot twist, though I guess this was actually the start of Naoko Takeuchi's villain twins. The fact that she totally destroys the Neptune in Sailor Sensi's apartment is insanely epic. We don't get enough chances to watch buildings getting destroyed in Sailor Moon, especially top-level apartments with floor-to-ceiling windows. Her hypnotizing the inner Senshi and the outer Senshi to take it out on each other was pure genius, something that no other villain has thought of. Those tensions had been building for an entire season by now, so it was genius to see. Junjun. Her athleticism is cool, and I like how she tries to help her targets before stealing the Dream Mirror. I don't have many thoughts on her, but Junjun is iconic because I love the quartet. The Sailor Quartet over the any Senshi any day. So we have a 12.5 villain here. Pearl doesn't actually count in this video's villain ranking, but I am including him on this list because I wanted to talk about him quickly. Pearl was supposed to be one of Queen Badian's henchmen, but he never does an evil thing or has antagonistic intentions, so I really went back and forth on whether or not to include him. I just wanted to talk about him for fun because I had quite the fairy obsession as a kid, and I love how fearless he is, speaking out against Badian several times, while looking so soft and pretty. But actually the real reason I decided to not count Pearl was so we'd have 69 Sailor Moon villains and not 70. From here on, I had a really hard time ranking them, except for number 1, who was my obvious pick for the best Sailor Moon villain from the start. The way Led Crow's character is used in Cosmos / the manga annoys me so much. I find it frustrating how Galaxia literally tells Sailor Chi and Phi that the Animamates were too weak, then still sends Led Crow out to try to kill Phobos, Deimos, Mars, and Venus. Led Crow gets killed so easily, and then Galaxia just does the work for her. But in the 90s anime, it's a whole other story. Led Crow, alongside Luminous 7, has so many iconic moments. The moment where they stand off against Sailor Uranus and Neptune in Sailor Moon's dining table is hilarious and the funniest moment in the 90s anime, in my opinion. Two iconic sapphic duos is incredible, and Sailor Moon did not need to go that hard, but they did. Also, Led Crow calling Sailor Aluminum 7 her rival for no reason is hilarious. Sailor Menesme. It's so mysterious how she interacts with Sailor Lethe. Are they twins? Lovers? It's so interesting and kind of confusing. I like that she genuinely wants to help Sailor Moon and the others, which is surprising because I don't understand how she's not under Galaxia's control. Also, she's so cute. I like her hair and her design. Sailor Heavy Metal Papillon was in Cosmos for less than 2 minutes, but she still left a major impact on me because her design is so cool, and her scene is so cool. That graveyard and the graves being carved out for Sailor Moon, Princess Kaku, and Chibi Chibi is the darkest moment in all of Sailor Moon, and I really like graveyards overall, so I think about this moment all the time. Insanely impressive, and also the butterflies are gorgeous. Mistress 9. So mysterious and ominous in the 90s anime, but they didn't really take it to the same level as Crystal if you ask me. In Crystal, they did better with the massive lead up to prevent Sailor Satan from awakening, and then boom, Mistress 9, who none of them knew about or expected. She was genuinely kinda scary too. Taking out Chibiusa was awesome because I didn't like Chibiusa at this point. Her long hair acting like a claw is super cool, and obviously, her origins are super twisted and absolutely wild. I like Black Lady's design better than hers, but in terms of the role they play in the story, Mistress 9 is way better. Professor Tomoe. Having a mad scientist in Sailor Moon makes so much sense, so it's incredible once we finally get one, and I love that he's equally unhinged in both the 90s and Crystal. He's hilarious in 90s. The treadmill scene and the Twister game are some of the most absurd things Sailor Moon has given us. And obviously, planting Mistress Nine and his daughter is insanely twisted, so high appreciation to this guy for that. Though Sailor Saturn is my second favorite Senshi, and it makes me desperately want to protect Hatsuru. They're a great duo because they're both perceived as being scary and abnormal by others, but they're still so different from each other. Additionally, a villain in Sailor Moon having a kid really changes things up. Tomoe is super memorable for so many reasons, and I feel bad for him because I don't like his minion villains very much. Number 6 is Kunsei. You may have noticed by now that the closer this list gets to number 1, the gayer it gets, which is no coincidence, my friends. I love my fellow queer people, and specifically queer people in Sailor Moon. However, now, we have reached the first of the confirmed canonical queer characters. Kunsei may be ranked the lowest of the canonical Sailor Moon gays, but he's the second villain that comes to mind when I think about Sailor Moon. I love how powerful he is. He honestly seems at the same level to Beryl most of the time. Kunsei is my favorite of the cold characters from Sailor Moon, because his relationship allows him to have more human side to him. Personally, I think he could have easily defeated Beryl, and he could be the Ice King of the Dark Kingdom. Pala Pala is one of the most memorable Sailor Moon villains by far. Her childish voice makes her the only Sailor Moon character who talks like this, and her character is still so dark. Like the dentist episode is magic crazy in the Super S. I like how she's more confrontational and eternal, though I do think she was kind of overused, bizarrely. I don't understand why she does most of the attacks in Eternal. I like how her circles make her design look more cutesy than the other members of the Amazonas Quartet, and I always just like people and things that seem really innocent but are kind of dark. Fiore. A big part of the reason of why he's so high in this ranking is because I love his design. This is the number 1 best character design in all of Sailor Moon. I love the suit so much. I'm a fashion design student and I really want to recreate it in real life. The pink one is just as amazing too when he's repossessed. Like, I love the detail. And I'm a sucker for any character with a natural hair and skin color. He's not a powerful villain. He's literally confirmed as being weak for being taken over by the Kisenian flower, but his story is great. Mamoru's first crush is adorable. He wants to find a flower for him. Adorable. They were so sweet as children, and once he becomes evil and he kidnaps him, I think he does manage to be a little bit threatening while still being in love with Tuxedo Mask. Fiore is such an underrated legend, and I love this guy. You can tell that I'm talking faster now that I've gotten to the villains that I really love. Number 4 is Aluminum Siren. She serves for incredible comedic relief while still being so lovable, and she's never a fool. She's super effective too because she figured out who's Sailor Moon and therefore all of the Sailor Senshi, including who the Starlights are. Her defeat was ridiculous and adds another layer onto how much I hate Galaxia. I wish Cosmos had included some of her airheaded charm though. And of course her dynamic with Light Crow is amazing. Also, she has such sweet manners, and she eats food all the time, which is so cute. She's a bit like if Sailor Moon was a villain, which is a strange connection, but it's just that cool. Fisheye. Personality-wise, I actually like Fiore more, but never mind that, because Fisheye carries in several other categories. Fisheye is interpreted in lots of different ways. A gay man, a trans woman, gender fluid, etc., but no matter what, he is an icon. He serves some incredible looks, has the best hair in Sailor Moon, and can genuinely be emphasized with, not like the forced empathetic villains that we see so much of nowadays from companies like Disney. Fisheye realizing that he's genuinely fallen for Tuxedo Mask is sad, and right here in the rain, I felt that. Also, he's animated to be so expressive. He's got such a wide range of emotions, like, look at this. I love Fisheye equally in Eternal too, an impressive feat since he only has one scene to shine. It was really cool how he lures Sailor Mercury, and unlike Tiger's Eye and Hawk's Eye, his attempt had potential, because we literally just saw that Mercury is having family problems. Trying to persuade her with jealousy over other families is realistic compared to the other two's attempts. Seche Seche is such an icon. Her drugging the other quartet members with the flower and putting them to sleep is so iconic. And she's so cute. I love her hair, I love her outfit, and she's obviously the best of the Amazonas Quartet. When she becomes the leader of the Sailor Quartet as Sailor Seches, it's awesome. I like her dramatic gestures, and how she's always animated like she's trying to be refined. It's really funny when she wants the guy to paint her portrait in Super S. It's funny how she speaks haughtily and how she tries to one-up the others in the 90s anime. Also, I haven't mentioned this yet, but like the trio's bar, the quartet's massage station is great. It's so funny to see these villains just trying to live their lives and constantly rebelling against their konya is wonderful. Number 1, the best villain in Sailor Moon, and also my favorite character of all time. Suicide. He can do actually everything. Be a threatening villain, be a romantic partner, be comedic relief, and have emotional, sympathetic moments. By the time of his appearance, none of the villains in Sailor Moon had yet to make a threatening impression. But he is the first to actually get shit done, and he accomplishes so much. He 100% would have won if it weren't for the rainbow crystals magically floating to Sailor Moon. He's also the first character in the original anime to actually be likable, at least to me. I find the Senshi in the 90s anime just too immature, and I just don't connect with any of them. Zoisite embodies every trait I like in a fictional character. He's cunning, vain, temperamental, pretty, amusing, clever, and queer. As to why Zoisite's my favorite character of all time, well, maybe I'll make a separate video, but every single action he takes, I see myself reflected there. I'm not a femme-gay guy, nor am I a gloriously murderous villain like him, but the little things and the way he was carefully animated resounded to me like no other character ever has. The way he catches the crystal here, his surprised, caught-off-guard look, and how he caught it in his left hand. How he keeps tricking Tuxedo Mask with underhanded statements. How he plays with his hair, how he poses in the air in ways that make him look taller, prettier, how he puts on this collected front, how he teases Nephrite relentlessly out of sheer boredom and pettiness because Nephrite is no real threat ever, how he goes crying to Kunsei afterwards for reassurance. Every single action and decision that he makes, I know if I was in that situation, I would make the exact same one. Obviously, like every other villain in Crystal, he gets less time to shine, and his personality is watered down. But he's still threatening, gorgeous, and effective, and just as clever. But most of all, why I love Zoisite is because he loves being a villain. Some characters, such as Pala Pala and Sailor Galaxia, enjoy what they do. They enjoy being twisted evil individuals. But Zoisite adores what he does, and will do absolutely anything just because he wants to, and he never feels any remorse. Killing Nephrite was so iconic, and was the start of what I call the Zoisite arc, the best storyline in Sailor Moon. I would love to talk about him for hours more. But unfortunately, neither of us have that kind of time, so I will stop here for now. Thank you so much for watching, I really appreciate it. As you can probably tell, I just wanted to get this obsession out of the way because these characters have unexpectedly taken over my life, and I hope you have an amazing day.